The plane dropped. Captain Rex Sullivan felt his stomach lurch as Flight 289 plummeted to the storm clouds. Like a broken bird, warning alarms screamed through the cockpit. Red lights flashed across every instrument panel. Mayday, mayday! Rex shouted into his headset. Static crackled back. The radio was dead. Another violent drop. Rex's head slammed against a side window. Stars exploding across his vision. His co-pilot, Tom Bradley, was already unconscious, slumped forward over his controls after the first brutal hit of turbulence. Rex blinked hard, trying to clear his sight. Everything was spinning. The altimeter showed 15,000 feet and falling fast. His hands fumbled for controls, but his vision kept blurring. Concussion had to be, "We're going to die," he whispered, the words barely audible over the chaos. That's when she appeared. "Mr. Pilot?" A small voice cut through the noise. "Are you okay?" Rex turned his pounding head. Standing in the cockpit doorway was a little girl, maybe 7 years old, with blonde braids and bright blue eyes. She wore a purple sweater with a unicorn on it, completely out of place in this nightmare. "Sweetheart." Rex's words slurred slightly. "You can't be here. Get back to your seat." "I can't." The girl stepped closer, surprisingly steady despite the plane's violent shaking. "The flight lady is helping scare people. Everyone's crying, but you look hurt." Lightning exploded outside the cockpit windows, illuminating the child's determined face. Thunder followed immediately. They were right in the heart of the storm. "What's your name?" Rex asked, trying to stay conscious. "Zoe Patterson. I'm flying to see my grandpa in Atlanta." She looked at the flashing lights with wide eyes, but no fear. "My daddy taught me about airplanes. He's a mechanic." Rex felt another wave of dizziness wash over him. The plane shuddered violently, instruments screaming warnings he couldn't focus on. Altitude, 12,000 feet now. They were losing height fast. "Zoe, I need you to listen very carefully." Rex gripped the controls with shaking hands. "Can you see that big wheel in front of me? The steering wheel?" Zoe moved closer, her small frame barely reaching the pilot's seat. "It's called a yoke. I need you to help me hold it steady." Rex's vision blurred again. "My head's hurt and I can't see straight." Without hesitation, Zoe climbed into the co-pilot seat, next to the unconscious Tom. Her tiny hands wrapped around the yoke. "Like this?" "Perfect." Rex tried to smile through his pain. "Now, when I say pull, you pull back gently. When I say push, you push forward. Can you do that?" "Yes, sir." Zoe's voice was steady, braver than most adults Rex had known. Another bolt of lightning split the sky, followed by turbulence that threw them both against their seats. The plane's engines whined in protest as wind shear caught the aircraft. "Pull, Zoe, pull back." Together, they hauled back on the controls. The plane's nose lifted slightly, fighting against the storm's fury. Rex squinted at the altimeter through his blurred vision. 10,500 feet. Still falling, but slower now. "I can see the ground." Zoe pointed through the rain-streaked windscreen. Rex forced his eyes to focus. Below them, barely visible through the storm, lights twinkled from small towns scattered across the landscape. They needed to find an airport, any airport. "Zoe, do you see that radio?" Rex nodded toward the control panel. The black box with numbers. "This one." She pointed to the transponder. "Smart girl, turn that big dial. See the numbers? Turn it until it shows 7-7-0-0. Zoe's small fingers worked the dial carefully. 7700. What does that mean? It means we need help. Rex managed a weak smile. Emergency frequency. Someone will see us now. The storm seemed to sense their defiance, hitting them with another massive gust. The plane rolled hard to the right, nearly turning upside down. Zoe screamed, but held tight to the controls. "I've got you," Rex shouted, using his last reserves of strength to level the aircraft. "You're doing great, sweetheart." Through the chaos, a voice crackled over the radio. "Weak, but there. Aircraft squawking 7-7-0-0. This is Atlanta Center. We have you on radar. What's your emergency? Rex grabbed the microphone with a trembling hand. Atlanta Center, Flight 289. Captain incapacitated, flying with... He looked at Zoe's determined face. Flying with my co-pilot. We need immediate vectors to nearest airport. Flight 289, Roger. Showing you 15 miles northeast of Macon Regional. Turn left, heading 180. Descend to 5,000 feet, when able. Zoe, we need to turn left. See this compass? We want the needle to point to 180. Rex's head was clearing slightly, adrenaline fighting through the concussion. Like this? Zoe gently turned the yoke left, watching the compass intently. Perfect, you're a natural pilot. As they descended to the storm, Rex told Zoe about the instruments, how the artificial horizon showed if they were level, how the airspeed indicator told them if they were flying too fast or slow. She absorbed every word, her young mind sharp and focused. My daddy always said airplanes want to fly. Zoe said, adjusting their heading as Rex instructed. He said they're happiest in the sky. Your daddy's right. Rex felt a warm spread through his chest, despite their dire situation. And right now, this airplane has the best pilot I've ever flown with. The lights of Macon Regional Airport appeared through the rain. Like a beacon of hope, the runway stretched out before them, outlined in bright white lights. Flight 289, you're cleared to land runway 09. Emergency vehicles standing by. Rex's vision was clearer now, but his hands still shook. Zoe, this is the hardest part. Landing is like parking a car, but we're going really fast. I can do it, she said, with quiet confidence. We can do it together. They lined up at the runway, the plane still buffeted by strong winds. Rex worked the rudder pedals, while Zoe kept the nose pointed straight ahead. At 200 feet, 100 feet, 50 feet. Pull back, Zoe, gentle. She pulled back on the yoke, just as Rex had taught her. The plane's main wheels kissed the runway, with barely a bump. They rolled to a stop as emergency vehicles raced toward them, red and blue lights flashing in the rain. We did it! Zoe turned to Rex, with the biggest smile he'd ever seen. We saved everyone. Rex looked back into the passenger cabin, where 127 people were cheering and crying with relief. Tom was starting to wake up, groggy but alive. Through the windows, he could see the grateful faces of passengers pressing against the glass. No, Zoe, Rex said, pulling off his captain's hat and placing it gently on her head. You saved everyone. You're the bravest person I've ever met. As paramedics helped him from the cockpit, Rex realized something profound had happened up there. This 7-year-old girl hadn't just helped fly a plane. She'd reminded him why he became a pilot in the first place. Not for the technical skills or the uniform, but for moments like this, when ordinary people do extraordinary things. 6 months later, Captain Rex Sullivan received a letter with a child's drawing of an airplane. At the bottom, in careful handwriting, Zoe had written, "Thank you for teaching me how to fly. When I grow up, I want to help people reach the sky too." Rex pinned the drawing above his desk, where it stayed for the rest of his career. A reminder that sometimes the smallest hands can hold the biggest dreams. And that courage doesn't measure height, it measures heart. The storm had tried to bring them down. Instead, it had lifted them higher than they'd ever imagined possible.